Good evening, everybody. Dadman Walking 55 coming to you live. Yes, we are talking college football tonight. We do have JT Kirk in the back, but we must start tonight with in due reverence and due somberness for what this occasion marks. Ding dong, the witch is it. Witch is away. He's gone. Clap, clap, shift no more. It is gone. The long national nightmare is now gone for good. Yes, the Gators can now maybe enjoy football again. And let's see if we can get Lane Kitten in to make football great again, or somebody that can actually score some damn points on offense. But speaking of an offensively challenged football team, I'll bring in my co-host tonight, the great JT Kirk. JT, I'll take your coach in a heartbeat. I love Jonathan Smith.
Oh, sorry. I was just
Jonathan Smith is
the death of my football season.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Smith is a dead man walking too, from the way I hear out there. I love him, what he did with the Beavers and stuff, but it's
well, not a bad guy. No one's ever gotten mad at behavior or anything like that.
The problem is the last few quarterbacks, even at Oregon State, he got away from the good strong arm quarterbacks. Like this Childs guy is a running. I never liked him there. I don't know why he started moving into that type of quarterback instead of the pro style drop back quarterback that could throw and with a solid running game. But I guess like everybody else, everybody insists that now you got to do the spread option crap all the time. But
and just so folks know, Dadman is a huge Florida guy. His coach is gone.
Yay!
I'm a Michigan State guy. My coach is still here. And they have the same record. And they're both going to lose on Saturday. Spoiler alert.
Big game coming up this weekend. Yeah,
we have rivalry. It's a rivalry weekend.
Now we'll have to let you talk a few minutes about memories, because we all know a few years ago with the famous ending with the botched punt snap and and Michigan State wins. All you had to do was catch the ball and kick it. That's all you had to do. Yeah. And couldn't do it. But no, it'll be interesting. We were at 744 subscribers. We picked up another couple the next couple of days, trying to get 6 more. So get the word out, folks. Let's have some fun with this, folks. Feel free to opine, share your feelings and opinions with us tonight. We would love to have it. Have a conversation. So let's see this. Let's see where we go. We got
not only your channel, but the Mrs. channel as well.
Oh yeah, she's up to 669. One more, she hit 670. Yeah, it's been
nice. Very nice. I remember we were shooting only a few days ago for 666 on that for Halloween, and she flew past that.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, love you too, babe. See ya. The missus just stuck her head in. Well, let's greet everybody. The great Snort Poops Q Burrs here. Hello, humans and other critters. And as soon as he said that, he's got to go to bed. But hey, Snort, thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I know you were over at the missus with Scream. Gosh, I watched some of that movie and then I took a nap. And I'm like, oh, gosh. Hard thing taking a nap before a stream. JT Kirk's here. Yes. I will at some point. But my gosh, it's like, why would I even care about that? They beat, and actually, well, give them some credit. The Beavers scored 35 in the second half to win. They were down 13-10 to Lafayette, of all people. Like those are games.
Lafayette.
Yeah, those are games I can't stand. Anyway. But yeah, Wade, they did win. At least the Beavers won, and good to see you, Wade. Hey. Great to have you tonight. So, yeah, let's go Beavers. I agree. Gators fired Napier. I'm not sad. Not sad.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
Figgy! I wonder if she's still here or if she came by. But Figgy, hey, if you're here, thank you so much. Glad to see you tonight, and good evening to you all, madame. And I hope things are all well where you are over there. We've had a wonderfully quiet hurricane season. I know sort of Poopas would agree, Figgy would agree, everybody on the Gulf Coast would agree in the Atlantic Seaboard. So it's been interesting though this year. Oh, Wade says, and the Beavers fans going wild. Michigan State suckage. Yes, you know that.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. And of course, Wade is now Star Wade Nation also. So continuing the number. The number of identity changes. But yes, thank you, JT, for putting the misses out there and the link there for that. So, Lafayette. Okay. Thank you, Figgy. Because, see, there is a county in Florida that is, they pronounce it Lafayette, not Lafayette or Lafayette. So,
and Purdue is in West Lafayette, Indiana.
Well, I think Lafayette's best, like Figgy says, because she's Cajun. So there you go.
Well, this is what we get for using French in anything. It's you have 5 ways you could say it in English. That's just an issue.
Oh yeah. Well,
by the way, Dadman, there was something the other day. It was Dave C's channel on Wednesday nights. We were reading a comic, and it opened up with 2 guys that were like burglars or something going after this lady, and she was speaking French, all fancy like. And so I had to use my accent, and I said, folks, I'm no French expert like Dadman Walking 55, but I'll give it a shot. Here we go.
Oui, monsieur. Comment allez-vous? Yeah. There you go, JT.
There you go. Yeah.
That's how you do. Give it a shot,
This is a channel of culture.
Exactly.
It truly is.
Exactly. And that's why we got Legatus Legion Eyes here. Legatus, how are you tonight? And Tim is here. Tim, FKHC 2005. Good to see you too tonight. And let's see. Yeah, the username curse is back. Yes. Yeah, Penn State sucks now. Yep. The talk about a team that fell out. See, yes, I know you are, Wade, but see, it's like that is the case of that's worse than Napier, though. Napier, it's like they had to beg to be fired. I mean, Franklin was in the playoffs last year. Now, I was really critical of Penn State last year. You remember my complaint with Franklin has always been, and like people finally picked up on and started talking about, was he can't win the big game. He go 10-2, lose to Michigan, lose to Ohio State every year. And but now he started losing to Northwestern.
Oh, geez.
You can't lose it. You can't lose to Northwestern. But it's amazing. In 15 days, he went from like number 2 in the nation to fired. That interception against Oregon, then the 2 collapses were just. No, man, I tell you what, I give Penn State credit. They moved quickly. They didn't wait like Florida for 4 years. I said, and I said, go back. I said in the first year Napier did not fit in. His offense was was not going to work in the SEC, and the people that just drank the Kool-Aid the whole time would never change and all this stuff. And then finally it was too late. So I bet you what will happen though, Tim. I don't think Penn State is as bad as their record is. I think the problem gets back to game day coaching, which is what Napier could not do at Florida. And I think the same thing with Franklin. He can't coach against the big teams and good teams. He can't. I mean,
I almost wonder, though. I still think that was an amazingly fast termination if there wasn't something off the field that happened. And this is an attempt to try to move it along.
Well, for a school that's had a dark history,
yes,
they're not going to put up with anything to move, so they'll move quickly.
And I don't know anything. No. I don't. I don't want to start that, but it was so quick, like you said, playoff to fired,
abnormally quick.
In
but
a third of his season.
And he was in the playoffs last year. He was playoffs last year.
But did you take some kids' lunch money on the playground? I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah,
that's where I'm wondering. Like, if you make the playoffs, don't you get to have one bad season in its entirety? And he didn't even get that.
But down in Louisiana, you can't have that bad season, because Ed Orgeron, good name for all that play, because Ed Orgeron loves the school. Go Tigers.
Well, they're going to be needing somebody soon, too.
Dude, Ed Orgeron, I love the guy. He loves his schools where he is, but God, the Cajun accent is just so cool. So, the one is Lafayette. Okay, Figgy, I agree with you. Hell with the French. They got to get Coach. I'll tell you, I'll take Coach O in Oregon. They got nothing else better.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams that'll be looking for a new coach this year, though.
Figgy. We'll just yell Figgy, apparently, folks. Every once in a while, everybody yell out the word Figgy, okay? But thank you for being here, though, Figgy.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you have Penn State. You have probably LSU. And the list is getting long quick at the top of schools that need somebody new.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They set up to 40, which could be a record this year. Look out, it says Figgy Juice. That's cool. Well, what about this, JT? Would you take James Franklin at Michigan State?
Probably not.
You take your chances with Jonathan Smith then?
Mm-hmm. Well, for another year. And I think next year you do an exhaustive search, quote unquote. Yeah.
Well, talk about an exhaustive search. It's the great eclectic goat. Not a football fan, but had to quickly say hi. Hey, goat, great. I can't English tonight. Great to see you. Thank you for stopping by, as always. And along with DJ Play Nice. Yes. Hey, dude. Rock on. Good to see you tonight. Hopefully all y'all are doing well. Thank you, DJ Play Nice. Yes. Make sure your subscription is active, that you're still subscribed. That has been happening. Get the alerts, because we're 6 more subscribers till 750, and then we'll have a celebration on. Okay? So let's get there. I can't do it without you guys, and hopefully we get there quick, very soon. Thank you, DJ.
You know what? Tonight was the start of the NBA and the NHL. So we've got college and professional football. Professional baseball, MLB. Then you have the NHL and the NBA. And it's really damn confusing who I'm supposed to care about and who to go watch.
Oh, I gotcha. The NBA doesn't exist to me, but I'll go watch the NHL.
Oh, no. Yeah, I never watched them.
So we'll go to the NFL for that. So, hey, Commander Ed Straker of Shadow, welcome. Good to see you tonight. Happy USC found a new and strange way to lose Saturday. So I was happy. Oh, boy. Somebody that does not like the Trojans of Southern Cal. But, they did. I thought they were going to take down Notre Dame, but they choked that game away. But give Notre Dame. Of course, you're not happy when Notre Dame wins. So.
Oh, I'm never happy when Notre Dame wins.
Yeah.
Even if it's against Ohio State, I'm still not happy.
Yes, Wade said Smith over Franklin, so he agrees with you. Well, thank you, Goat. I thank you so much, and I can't ignore my favorite YouTube Goat out there either. Great to see you tonight. You see you're still active and doing lots of stuff. And what's up, world? Chewy's in the house. Yes, Mr. LSU, and also West Coast football. So hello. And yes, hello back to you, Ed Straker. So, folks, we're going to get into some of the games from last week, try to roll through it and everything else, and we will try to hit the top 25 also for this week and look towards this week's games. And our picks are back on, and we have significant changes in our picking standings this year. So what is MLB? Just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Well, everybody else pretty much done with it.
Coach said, I started well before you, and I've had 2 more subs to hit 650. Maybe I should take up football and squirrels after all. Hey, squirrels get you lots of mileage too. They're cute, but I'm sure they'll jump on the backs of the goats and go for a ride. So that's an issue there. Lincoln Riley, he left Oklahoma, went to Southern Cal, and some people kind of speculate he went to the Pac-12 knowing it was a weaker conference. You had Oregon, you had Washington, but that he would avoid the SEC, the Big 10, and then look what happened. USC ended up in the Big 10. So
Big 52.
Good. Yep. All right. Well, let's take a look at last week's games. Man, We will start in the top 25 on Friday night. Actually, the first game of the week, Miami number 2 on the. How the hell do you lose at home when you're second-ranked team to Louisville? Louisville wins this game 24-21. I mean, legitimately. I mean, Miami has Florida, kicks their tail at home. They crushed. Well, it ended up a 6-point game in Tallahassee, but they ended up crushing FSU. They really did. Explain, JT. Do you have any idea of how the second-ranked team in the nation gets beaten by Louisville? Now, I will say Louisville come into the game 4-1, so they were not bad, but still, to lose a game like this at home when you're second-ranked in the country, it's just not good. Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions in this game.
Well, that's how. Yeah, right there.
I mean, did you? Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with those 4 interceptions, you only could score 21 points. And when that happens, you don't win football games because 4 scores, another team is going to capitalize on at least one of those. At the very least, one of those.
Well, and it was the memes this week were really all on Carson Beck. I guess in the post-game conference, some of his comments seemed to put his teammates down. But, dude, 4 picks when you're the quarterback, you should not be looking to shift blame or responsibility anywhere else.
Well, after the second one, would you have sat him, or after the third one?
See, that's the problem in modern football. They don't sit the quarterbacks anymore.
Yeah.
Depending on who the backup is, I'd say sit the quarterback earlier in the game, at least for a drive or two, and then you put them back in. You know, let them kind of get, but that doesn't happen anymore, especially now in the days of NIL. You're paying these quarterbacks all this money. You're not going to sit them.
Yeah,
it's like the NFL. Right? Do you as bad as Dak Prescott could play? Will he ever get benched? No, not until the game's well out of control. So, but yeah, and that's happening. There's rumors about that in Gainesville, leading to problems. When Lagway gets paid near $4 million, and yet he's stinking up the joint, but stays in the game. Which is another one of these things where it's really affecting the quality of the gameplay and really things that would have happened. I told you last year, like Nico Amagonolivia should have actually been benched at times last year for the starter at Tennessee. Just help him go that way. To help him adjust to the game and everything else. So, oh man, Ed Straker says in the Leon Brains days, lifelong Lakers fan. LeBron James used to be excited about the start of the season, but as LeBron is on the team and Genie is in control, only first-round exits. Yeah. Well, hey, at least you're still not a Dallas Cowboy fan. If you are, I'm right there with you with my team owner. So, ahoy to the great, the Ohio State University, Mr. Deeple 101. How are you tonight, sir? Good to see you, too. And, yeah, I can sense I like Ed Straker around with this because the sarcasm about the Lakers and the USC. Mm-hmm. So, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. All right, we got 13 watching. Yeah.
The game that really was the bigger upset for me on Friday was Minnesota overtaking Nebraska. I mean, it was the 25th ranked team. Who cares? But I was surprised Minnesota had the guts to do anything, and all of a sudden they're 3-1 in the Big Ten. Come on, no one thought that was happening.
Nobody did. But I will say though, Nebraska had to go on the road though. At least in this case, Nebraska was on the road. I could see that happening. I just when you're the second ranked team in the country. I don't see how you lose to Louisville, but then again, Louisville I think has snuck up on everybody this year, and demanding some respect. Speaking of Minnesota, yeah, you're right. 24-6. This game was not even close. Nebraska took an early lead on a field goal, then retook the lead at 6-3. Then after that, it's all Gophers for the rest of the game. Minnesota, 339 yards of total offense. This was not an offensive output game. Nebraska was held to 213 total yards in this game.
It kept them out of the end zone. How do you do that to a ranked team? See, that's what I think is worse. is you keep a ranked team out of the end zone at all. And it wasn't that miserable and cold in Minnesota on Friday.
Yeah, but I know, but this is typical Big Ten football. I mean, not the Ohio State, good Michigan type football. This is like this is like Iowa football. It was a 7-6 game, Minnesota leading at half, and then it picked up in the second half. Minnesota with 17 unanswered in the second half. They held Nebraska to 177 yards, passing 36 yards on the ground, 34 of which was sack yardage, is mostly on the quarterback, since the sack yardage comes out of the rushing in college. While Minnesota was able to run the ball for 186 yards, threw the ball for 153 yards. Like you said, though, big surprise. I don't think you had Minnesota in the top half, or even Nebraska's 2-2 still. I don't think you had either one of these teams at this point this high up in the Big 12, or did you?
I did not. I did not. Their name is the Golden Gophers, Minnesota, by the way. So I have you have a family show, so I can't tell you the real nickname, Golden Gophers.
Oh, well, look, I follow a team named the Beavers, so who knows what, all bets are off. But we used the bottom 10 used to call them Minnehaha when they were really bad, Minnehaha. So, yeah, Steeple, I saw a few of the memes. Yeah, those are pretty cool. So, you can say that one, JT. That one's okay.
No. We'll move on. We'll move on.
Okay. Oh my God, Ed Stricker, LOL, please, it's the Dallas Cowpies. Los Angeles Fakers. Hey, but he loves the Dodgers, though. Loves the Dodgers. So
yeah, they had a good run.
Yeah,
they had a good run. Don't tell you that.
Well, we're going to hit this one, Chewy, now, because I don't come back to your other one a little bit later, Chewy. But Miami losing at home to Louisville was somewhat surprising. The Louisville's defense made big plays. I thought their offense could have done a bit more to put up more points, but the Hurricanes hanging around despite the sloppy play. Well, I tell you what, that's a problem with I liked Miami as a team better last year than this year, because Carson Beck he poops the bed at sometimes during the season, and well, that's what he did Friday night. He really pooped the bed big time. 4 picks. It just then to talk to blame your teammates and stuff, but there's no overcoming 4 interceptions when you're the quarterback. You better take responsibility for that one in that game. But yeah, Louisville upsets Miami on the road. Minnesota wins at home. A game that night of interest, though, the Bill Belichick college football coaching watch is on. How long will he stay in college football? Because there are rumored buyouts, talk about buyouts and stuff with him.
But, already?
Oh, shit. It's a family show. Oops. There you go. Yes, exactly. They are. They are. There's been rumors they've denied it. There's supposed to be a show like Hard Knocks that was supposed to follow them around on Hulu this year. They canceled the deal already. They've canceled that deal. They're not going to be doing that with North Carolina this season. But North Carolina goes on the road, loses 21-18 at California. So
they figured no one cares about North Carolina football, no matter who you put in there in the coaching spot.
This is still an abnormal thing. How the hell do you have Atlantic Coast Conference football with one team on the friggin' Pacific Ocean in California and one on the Atlantic Coast? But yeah, so oh God. Hey, we don't mind blending other sports like this. I'm an NBA fan. Sarcasm that when the Cavs drafted LeBron the next morning, I famously said Cleveland has a basketball team because they weren't on TV. I remember what Joakim Noah, when he was playing with the Bulls, the former Florida Gator, said. He always trashed Cleveland in the NBA from the Bulls. But
I just remember, Deeple, I did live in Cleveland for like a year growing up.
What?
And yeah.
Oh my gosh. You were in Ohio. Wow.
That was LeBron's freshman year, rookie year. And they had to win like 1 out of their last 8 games or something like that to go to the playoffs. And they missed all 8. I thought that was so funny. It was like, Cavs are going to the playoffs finally. And nope. Repeat.
Nope.
Yeah. I don't have a very charitable view of LeBron, Queen, James. Yeah.
Or even Ohio, because you really went well on Toledo last week. But we won't fight that battle again.
We'll leave it alone. But
yeah,
we'll
save it again.
Especially for Deeple, because I know he's got a different opinion of Columbus than I do. So.
That works. All right. Well, in the top 25, the Ohio State moves on undefeated, blinking with Wisconsin. Yes, I said Wisconsin because honestly, this team is so bad. I've always hated Wisconsin, but it's like
the great part about this.
It's pathetic. That 34-0. Yeah, go ahead.
I almost treat that as a loss for Ohio State
because they
should have run the score up. Yeah.
And
I bet you they kind of laid off a little bit, especially the second quarter. They didn't score. How many backups did they go through to try to make the game more interesting?
Yep, a glorified practice again. I miss those days when Florida was so good with Tebow, and then it was like, well, they were glorified practices. But the next game we got is the third-ranked Indiana Hoosiers hold serve at home, crush the Michigan State Spartans 38-13. Did you get to see any of this game, JT? I know that your market, your access is limited because of the way they do these games.
Well, sometimes. Yeah, no, and I didn't even bother trying to look for it. I had better things to do on Saturday, so that was that. And my only question is, at the very bottom basement of the sub basement, if you will, of the Big Ten rankings, who is worse, Wisconsin or Michigan State? Wisconsin doesn't have a win, and Michigan State doesn't have a win, but Michigan State also had the easiest schedule in the conference this year, and they still couldn't come out with anything.
They did, I think Wisconsin by far the worst, but Aiden Childs 27. See, this is what I understand: 27-33, 243 yards, a touchdown, but he can only generate 13 points. Of course, Alicio Milosevic, got a good extended time, 3 of 5, 50 yards in this game for Michigan State. The numbers look decent, but of course, against 464 yards of total offense by Indiana, led by Fernando Mendoza, who could be your Heisman Trophy winner this year. 24-28, only 4 incompletions for 332 yards, 4 touchdowns. And also, as this Kurt Signetti, I think that's the name for Indiana, just got his contract extended because he was a quick opening name mentioned for other job positions, even Florida. But he says, I want to retire as an Indiana.
Now, wasn't it with some kind of nuts contract too? Like 8 years, $94 million or something.
What contract with these damn coaches now is not crazy? They're all freaking insane, and these damn buyouts are.
8 years though. 8.
Yeah, but still, he can retire though with that thing. That the thing is, don't give him a $50 million buyout. I don't care what he's done. Like Jumbo Fisher got 76 for Texas A&M. That's after they had like another 40 for Kevin Sumlin before him. Billy freaking.
What was supposed to be hilarious.
Yes, they did, Deeple. Yes, finally. But see, here's what I think. They did it 4 years too late. I think I said Napier should have been fired his first year. I knew right then he was not capable of the SEC. JT will tell you, people that have been around me, I called it in the first year. I have stood by that. But yes, they did. But they still agreed to a $20 million buyout with a guy that never coached at a big level. Why? That's my biggest problem with all these buyouts. They're just giving them to them as some security to these coaches that haven't done a damn thing. Lane Kiffin, fine. Jimbo Fisher, yeah, but make it reasonable still. Not $70 million. I mean, you buyouts. Yeah, exactly. I wish I had a 10th of their buyout. I'd take that at work any day. Get something like that. But anyway,
what he was supposed to do, and he forgot to read the script, was after you win that insane contract, you have to go out and lose your next game to an easy opponent. And he couldn't even do that.
Well, he's a good guy.
So I'm wondering how real Indiana is, because beating Michigan State is not exactly a.
But they did beat Oregon. Remember, They did beat Oregon the week before. That is the only reason why I'm giving Indiana a lot of respect this year, is because they and I believe they did that one on the road also. And that's been my biggest criticism of Penn State and last year for Indiana, was they never beat anybody legitimate. Well, this year they beat Oregon on the road, and I got to give it to them. Now, here's a game that you wonder why the heck, but you can put it up to a road game. Fourth-ranked Texas A&M goes on the road to the Pigs and barely ekes a win out, 45-42.
Weeks went out.
Yeah, Mike Elko's another name mentioned with Penn State and other jobs already, but. Why would he leave Texas A&M? But they do go in. They do survive, win this game 45-42 in a track meet. Ole Miss goes to Georgia, and Lane Kiffin loses again. Ole Miss was leading this game late, and then Georgia just pulled away near the end and had a 4-1.
Give up 17 points in the fourth quarter. I don't care who you are. That's asking to lose.
And they had Georgia desperate, because Georgia went for fourth and more than one at their own 40-yard line in that area on their side of the ball. It was still, I think, the third quarter. I mean, if they didn't make that, then Ole Miss would have had great field position. But, yeah, it's just looking at the stats. Georgia had 510 total yards. Ole Miss only 350 yards, 34 first downs for Georgia, 21 for Ole Miss. But Georgia had the ball for 38 minutes compared to 22 minutes for Ole Miss. Yet Ole Miss still put up 35 points in 22 minutes of time of possession. Very interesting efficiency for Ole Miss. But Georgia's back to the old style football run. Really run dominated this year. Ball control the clock. I had a halftime lead, 21-20 for Ole Miss in this game. Ole Miss comes out of the locker room, takes first play of after the kickoff, scores on a 75-yard pass from Trinidad Chambliss to Deshaun Stribling, extends lead 28-20. Georgia comes back again. Here we go. Georgia gets the touchdown, but what do? We go for two with 10 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yep.
And they fell, so. So then Ole Miss extends the lead to 9 after that. So
part of this here is, you're saying interesting efficiency. 35 points is not a bad score to put up, but at some point, if you have a time differential that's that stark, you need to look at slowing down your offense a little bit, because your defense can't get off the field. Yeah. And they're going to be exhausted by the time the fourth quarter rolls around. And, well, look what happened.
Georgia amassed 221 yards on the ground for Georgia. This juggernaut. But that's the thing. The thing is with Georgia, if you've got to force them to, you got to stop up the running game and force them to throw the ball. Even though Gunnar Stockton only threw 5 incompletions, he got through for 4 touchdowns and 290 yards. But you got to make him beat you. But when Georgia runs for 200 yards, they're almost unstoppable in this game. See, let's see. Georgia, looking at it, Ole Miss had about 60 plays. Georgia had 80 plays. So there's a difference.
You cannot get your defense off the field. You have to slow the game down and get the time of possession up on offense.
But
they didn't do it.
It was definitely a good game, though, and that's what we look for. We look for good, entertaining games and stuff these days. Chewy, though, said, this is why I hate when teams try to get big-name coaches. When things don't go well, they end up firing them, and I get there are pros and cons to each, but the buyouts are insane. Why teams wait until there's not many years left to do the fire unless they find a loophole and slip by a coach not pay whatsoever. Yeah, we've seen when that's happened before.
Well, and that's how Michigan State got rid of Mel Tucker for off the field stuff, and then he tried to sue him, saying, "No, you still owe me the money because X, Y, and Z," and that got messy. But schools will try to find a way to.
And I do agree with you with trying to give people patience and stuff like that with the country. But look, Billy Napier, even year 2, there was enough smoke to see this guy did not know what he was doing. And I agree with this in principle, but when they hit the coach and everybody keep saying, "I need 4 years," Look, you don't need 4 years nowadays with the NIL and the transfer portals and stuff like that. You can turn rosters and teams around very quickly these days. And we see that with Clemson and Dabo Swinney. Is a modern game, everybody's asking, has a modern game passed Dabo Swinney by? Because he wants to focus on recruiting and tradition, not, worrying about the NIL, the transfer portal. Not that I'm a fan of them. I hate that stuff because it's ruining the game. So,
well, speaking of ruined games, Tennessee at Alabama.
Well, we will get to that in just a second because I do want to get to Chewy's coming here too. A game that there's two teams who led time of possession. Vandy led time of possession, had great drives, hence how they beat LSU. Opposite is Kentucky, who led time of possession, had many more yards than Texas. We'll look at these as we get to those games. Big difference. Vandy finished the drives with touchdowns. Kentucky either settled for field goals and worked or did not. Yes, do not forget the goal line. Yeah, we'll talk about this when we get there, JT, because that was coaching malpractice at the end of the fourth quarter. In overtime. You didn't get to see the Texas Kentucky game, did you?
No.
I watched the end of it. I was watching. Well, I didn't watch.
It's not Texas. In my market.
I didn't watch Texas win the game because at that point I knew it was over. Okay, Goat, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you being here. Hey, we love talking and
Cages if etouffee, like that wrong, so we all love talking the foreign language, go Tigers.
So have a great night. I love that. My Ed Orgeron voice.
Now, what you're talking about, Figgy Place, you like Ed Orgeron, Cajun talk, no Louisiana Cajun talk, go Tigers.
So, sorry. JT, sorry. No, Figgy, no. I'd never said that.
Damn it. It's impossible for me to know.
No. You see what she put in the chat?
I see.
I'm going to have to ban
I can't
her.
decode that.
I know. I had to ban her for that, but she is listening. All right. But hey, oh gosh, this is fun. Let's take a look. It is time. The next game, Alabama, Tennessee, JT. What are your thoughts on this? Alabama wins this game going away 37-20. Aguilar.
I knew they were going to win going into that. It was sad, but I knew they were going to win. I don't know why. I had a gut feeling Tennessee was going to drop this one. It was going to be ugly. They were not going to win. Sure enough, the win was even bigger than I thought.
It's a movie reference, Joe Dirt. Okay, I take you. I just had to give you a hard time. So, but yeah, I was surprised it was so one-sided. That really, in this case, it's because I think when we look at the stats, Tennessee had more yardage than Alabama. But Alabama had just a little over 3 minutes time of possession advantage. But where this game turned was at the end of the first half. When, Aguilar screwed up in the end zone, got tripped over his own feet, over his lineman's feet, intentional grounding end zone. And then Alabama moved in, touchdown, made it 16-7, and what had been a 7-7 game up till that point. Tennessee gets the ball next possession, is driving the ball down the field, running out of clock, with under 10 seconds left, and they're trying to score a touchdown, and ended up throwing a pass out in the flat. Alabama picks the ball off and goes 99 yards for a touchdown.
6-6, yeah.
Yep. That made the game 23-7. At that point, you knew it was over.
You don't score the first quarter. I mean, I want to see a stat. I'm sure it's out there of what percentage of games do teams win where you don't score in the first quarter? Because it's not going to be a high percentage at all. So,
or how about in the fourth quarter? Or how about in the fourth quarter? Because before the Pitt State game, when the stats on Florida was under Napier, had not scored in the fourth quarter since the USF game on the 9th of September.
That's horrible too.
Yeah, exactly. You got to score in the beginning. You got to score early. So, yeah. Speaking of the portal, Chewy's saying that teams like Georgia Tech, Houston, Vandy, several use the NIL and transfer portal, but also have coaches that know how to navigate. Keep an eye out for Houston, Arizona State. ASU now ranked after studying people. Some of us saw that coming. I called ASU in that game, I believe. And Houston gets a field goal win over Arizona, but it's big for both teams when Cincinnati and BYU are ahead in the Big 12 standings. Absolutely. Hey, our BYU fan's not here yet tonight. Maybe she'll show up at some point.
She'll pop in. She'll pop in, I'm sure.
But yeah, good points there, Chewy. You've got to navigate NIL and transfer portal. You've got to. It's just the way the new modern game is with things. But this Alabama-Tennessee game, these have been some really good games in recent years, but this one wasn't even close. It's like Tennessee is missing something this year. They missed it the last couple of years, but they had a lot of hope behind Aguiar, and it seemed like the offense was running and gunning and clicking like it had been in previous years. But then again, in this game, they did not. They looked like they struggled the whole time, and then of course the pick six changed the game complexion entirely. And to what Chewy has just said, 7th-ranked Texas Tech went on the road to Arizona State and loses in this game. It just I think Texas
it's Big
Tech
12 ball. I don't want to be too mean to it, but it's Big 12 ball.
I know, but you know what? I'm actually, because of watching BYU now a little bit and seeing a little bit more of these teams, I'm getting a little bit more respect for the Big 12. I am. I mean, it's because I tell you what, I watch so much SEC football. Sometimes it gets boring. So compared to the Big 12, it is kind of refreshing. But in this game, Texas Tech was without their starting quarterback, but they had a backup come in. Will Hammond went 22 of 37, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Not bad overall. But
you think it's the end of their season without the quarterback now?
What's that again?
You think it's the end of their season if they can't get that quarterback back?
Probably. You got to have a starter quarterback that can carry. But I mean, Hammond didn't do bad. They only lost by 4. Really, it was a 16-7 game going into the fourth quarter, and then it was Texas Tech outscored Arizona State 15-10 in the fourth quarter. Arizona State had Sam Leavitt coming back for the game, who was out the previous week when they got crushed by Utah. So the battle of starter, one team had a starter back, the other had a starter that was out. And this is sad that when you have that kind of thing with teams like this, like Texas Tech or even Arizona State, when they had the previous week without the starting quarterback, because you really want everybody functioning effectively. And like Florida's quarterback is hobbled. Everybody knows it. DJ Lagway, he's still hobbled. And yet they still call running plays or give him option plays where he can run, and it's not effective. But hey, this is a game though. Texas Tech's not out, but like you said, if they can get the starting quarterback back, the season's not over. Big 12 race is still out there, but there are many teams chasing in the Big 12. 8th-ranked Oregon goes to Rutgers. Wes Cagle, all hell.
The biggest point differential of the week right here. And
10, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that 10 was a pity touchdown at the end, and they sat all their starters in the fourth quarter or something.
Well, it's yep. By the way, I will be live tomorrow night with Wes Cagle.
Ask him how he liked that game. I'm sure he'll tell you all kinds of nice things.
Yeah, I will do that. But yeah, Wes, we will be back tomorrow night. We've taken a few weeks off and stuff, but he's up for it. We'll do it, and hope to see y'all there too.
This is another one of those sub-basement dwellers, Big Ten. You got your Michigan State, you got your Rutgers, and you have your Wisconsin.
Like, why is Rutgers? I don't know if somebody in the chat recently said, why isn't Rutgers like in the Conference USA or something, another conference? But yeah, that makes sense.
The New York, New Jersey metro TV market. That's the only reason they joined the Big Ten. What, a decade or 15 years? I mean, it's been longer than you think that they've been in the Big Ten. And that's the only reason they're in. Them and Maryland is for those markets. Yeah.
Well, Chewy says about the Cincinnati BYU winner could represent the Big 12. and has an eye on American. But I'd like to point back. Granted, I know LSU does play Texas A&M, and seeing how A&M plays, their offense worries me. But Arkansas does play tough despite its bad record. Yes, that's the thing. Is Arkansas is a tough little scrappy team. The thing is they just can't win. Like the Penn State of the South. But the problem is they play great teams every week and keep losing. Poor Arkansas. Pig fans. Speaking of Chewy's game, LSU goes on the road to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was the favorite in this game, and 17th ranked Vanderbilt wins this game 31-24. I mean, it's good to see people actually.
I don't like Brian Smelly, but
no, I know you do. And there's actually talk about people wanting him out of Baton Rouge. This SEC Shorts group that does parodies and stuff. They actually have one with an LSU fan like trying to offer Brian Smelly to a Penn State fan. And it's like, yes. See, I have said since Brian Smelly was hired by LSU, at least in my opinion, and Chewy, I like your opinion or anybody else's. Small Town Republic, good to see you too. Howdy to you. Yeah, has lost 5 games in a row, has the number 4 offense in the country because of Bobby Petrino, who's back now again. But see, my thing with Brian Smelly at LSU is as long as he would win, I think everything was fine. It's a place of culture. You can't take a Yankee, put him in a southern place like Louisiana like that, and it work unless he's winning. That's just, I thought that all along. And I guess he's out there talking about the fans. There's a clip of a press conference this week where he's yelling that you people are spoiled. Oh boy. You start attacking the fan base like that, it may be frustrating, but the optics are horrible when that happens. So, it is part of the culture. They take the football seriously and they don't have patience for losing and stuff. And I tell you, even though Vanderbilt is respectable now, no self-respecting SEC team tolerates a loss to Vanderbilt, period.
Oh, I don't care. That's going to take a long time for that perception to change. Exactly.
But yeah, hey, good to see you again, Small Time. Hopefully you're doing well out there tonight. But give Vanderbilt credit. I told you I thought Vanderbilt was a fraud and they fall apart, but they haven't, unlike last year.
I thought they were real this year. That's been one of the biggest disagreements we've had.
Yeah.
It's like, I think these guys will do just fine. Fine.
They did a good job getting depth in this last year in the portal and the NIL because they struggled last year. They got to 5 wins and they tanked and then barely got another win to make the bowl game.
Well, that's what the NIL has done to make the league, I guess, more interesting, but for the wrong reasons of some people like you and I. It's who's the biggest nobody to become somebody, Indiana or a Vanderbilt.
Well, JT, we're going to sink some teeth in. We got an LSU fan out here right now. And I know you're not a Brian Smelly fan, but Chewy said the biggest takeaway, LSU wants not just Kelly and even the offensive coordinator out of town. He does need to man up and take responsibility on losing, but it's also on the AD. He too needs to be out. But that sounds like the Florida fans. That sounds like Florida has talked about Strickland with Napier. But Woodward is the same guy who brought Mulkey in, and the manager who won the College World Series for LSU baseball, which the Scott Strickland at Florida brought in our new basketball coach from San Francisco, Todd Golden, that nobody knew about. And, look, the Gators are the reigning national title in men's basketball. So
you have to decide what kind of school you want to be.
Right. But what do you think with two?
Very hard to be a two-sport school.
Yeah. But what about your thoughts about this with not just Smelly, but the whole athletic organization?
A lot of times, you do have to get them gone. I've seen it in other places where they've stuck around way too long, or those ADs get in after, the other one retires or something. And then it just happens to be the year that the football coach, the football program wins a ton. And so these ADs get showered with credit that they don't deserve. The one thing I would say, and it's by no means disparaging fans of LSU baseball, college baseball is a very niche thing. They make far, far less money than basketball or football. And so if you get a smaller sport like baseball, which, not saying it's not fun, but you get that or hockey going, it's not good enough to keep the AD around, because might still make net revenue is positive on those sports, but it's not where you want your school to say you have the best one. College baseball, or college hockey too, are the next two biggest. And I don't think anyone out there that is, the average person would say, yeah, I'm going there because of this. You get some diehard fans, sure. I mean, Michigan State, or even Western Michigan are huge hockey schools. But the average person on the street has no idea what the hockey team is like, can name any of the players, etc. So I know, Dadman, you're a college baseball guy, aren't you?
At times, I actually like women's college softball better, but still,
sure. But if Florida had the national champions, great for them. But look, it's not a thing that people care.
I don't support Strickland because they won in basketball. I mean, I want my football program to be the flagship program.
You want it to be a football school?
Yes, I want it to be a football school, and I want to take pride and put us where we should be, not everybody else's little whipping boy around there. I mean, I love my basketball team. Like Small Time said, it's so fitting Bruce Pearl lost his last game to Todd Golden. I was in a campground with that, trying to not cuss too loudly with my sister-in-law and her grandkid next door to us. It was but it was fun.
I think from a business perspective, you look at what is my school known for and where do I make the most money? If you're Maryland, you don't really get rid of the AD because the football team isn't doing well. But if the basketball team doesn't do, insanely well, it's time for a shakeup. Same with something like Georgetown or North Carolina. Who cares? I'm sorry, but people are not huge UNC football fans unless you're a fan at the school. You disagree with me, but they've always been a basketball school. They're always going to probably be.
They will be
basketball school.
They were lucky to had Mac Brown come back. I mean, North Carolina's greatest success in football was with Mac Brown. And they ran him off again, and they got Bill Belichick. Anyway, we've wasted enough time on that. I mean, that became a joke, especially with the cheerleader wife or girlfriend or whatever. But yeah, Small Time said he thought that 4-8 for Vandy because teams adjust. I as part of kind of what I thought too is other schools would adjust to them, but no, give Vanderbilt credit. They've had a good year this year. And then Chewy says, as for play, LSU running the ball is always a bad eye, except the 50-something yard game, but only lands near the 5-yard line on Vandy. But LSU instead goes for the field goal, similar to the South Carolina game, cannot finish drives near the end zone. The fan base says it's Nussmeier, but I say it's a combination that includes coaching in all phases. Heck, LSU's defense could not get out on third. See, and LSU had been carrying LSU's defense had been carrying them this year. And that's probably credit to Pavia for his mobility. Not getting off on third downs. But I will say, I think Chewy had mentioned it a while back. There was some debate whether it was time to play the backup instead of Nussmeier. And I'm trying to figure, and I know the name. They got a kid, Blake Shapen is now the quarterback at Mississippi State. He lost his job last year because he was out for an injury. But Michael Van Buren, that's a kid that I thought played really well at Mississippi State last year. I think it's time, if LSU wants to save its season, to give Van Buren a shot. He's your quarterback of the future when Nussmeier goes, but at Nussmeier, and I hate benching quarterbacks. I do, contrary to the way it sounds sometimes, but he has been so turnover prone or pedestrian this year, and it's hard too. He's a Louisiana boy, but if you want to save your season, I think at some point you got to play Van Buren a little bit. Give him a shot. Like I said last year with Nico at Tennessee, the worst thing they did was keep him in all those games when he struggled.
They do have.
I think, and like Lagway at Florida, I think sometimes you sit their butt on the bench. No matter, even Dak Prescott, I don't care what you make. Part of the power of the coaches has always been to bench the quarterback and keep your playing time. And I think that's a bit harmful for both the modern game and college and pro, is because somebody is a designated starter and making money. Well, we can't bench it. Bull crap. You put whoever's going to be in there and win. Hey, Figgy, take care. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us like you did. Appreciate it. And thank you for teaching me another movie. But go ahead, JJ.
You have Texas A&M and then Alabama the next 2 weeks. So I don't think you get rid of that starting quarterback the next 2 weeks. I think if you do, it's when you have Arkansas,
but this backup quarterback,
Oklahoma.
but this backup quarterback is different. Van Buren played for Mississippi State. He was a starter for most of the season at Mississippi State last year. He has SEC experience. So it's not like you're going to a true freshman or somebody that has not played the game before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, JT. I know. Well, let's pick up the pace here. I do like to spend a little bit more time on games that are of significance to people around the that are here in the chat. And also, speaking of that, real quick, I'm going to say one of the teams Chewy announced was Georgia Tech. I love Georgia Tech. I love Haynes King as quarterback. They win at Duke 27-18. There for Ed Straker, yes, USC finds another way to lose, which I understand could be the last time that USC and Notre Dame play ever. So
how's that?
I think the contract's up, and Notre Dame does what Notre Dame does, and
sure.
And USC down to Big 10, excuse me. It's changed everything. USC pulled ahead 24-21, then gives up a 100-yard kickoff return to give up the lead back to Notre Dame, and then Notre Dame adds another touchdown in the fourth quarter to pull away in this game. This game's played at the wrong time of year. I remember when this game was like Thanksgiving weekend,
Yeah, it does feel a little too early for this, doesn't it?
It does. Florida, Tennessee this week's around Thanksgiving. It's stupid. Speaking of stupid, I don't know.
Oklahoma,
South Carolina. Yeah, I mean,
biggest disappointment of the year candidate right here for
South Carolina. Hey,
Yeah.
like we talked about last week, Beamer, if your dad's school has any interest in you, you better take that job quickly. John Mateer for Oklahoma threw for only 150 yards, and yet Oklahoma wins 26-7.
Was that a safety they had at the end of the game there? Fourth quarter? 2 points? It's got to be the other way you could get that, right?
No, it's a different way here. Take this comment, Chewy, while I'm pulling up the stats real quick. I'm curious.
Okay, Vandy did not just rely on Pavia, but it was their running attack who had more than 200 yards together, weather down the LSU defense. Now, whether LSU decides to bench Nussmeier for Van Buren, my concern would be this. What does Sloan have on his playbook that can give Van Buren success? The run blocks are horrible outside of maybe a miracle run or two. Pass blocking is okay, but also the LSU offensive line as a whole does not have veteran names to protect it. Yeah, so the point is
Van Buren is a lot more mobile than Nussmeier is, though. He can roll out, he can play on the run better than Nussmeier can. That, and especially if you're having a bad offensive line, it may be a better. You may be able to protect him better and roll him out and do other things with your offense. That's the thing, is if you adjust the playbook to his skill set, as you said, a lot
of play action type stuff to give him, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, yes, you're right. The safety ended the scoring.
Yeah. It's like how else do you score 2 in the fourth quarter? Yeah.
No, I don't know, but hey, that's the way you got to do it. But yes, exactly. God, insult to injury for South Carolina. Oh man, South Carolina falls to 1-4 in the conference. Also, this is a team that's predicted to be very high in the conference this year.
By both of you and I believe.
Yeah, Illinois Sellers was a respected quarterback.
Biggest letdown of the year candidate.
I think South Carolina and Penn State are two of the leading candidates in that.
Yeah.
We need to have that at the end of the year too, when we discuss everything.
Yes. Yes. At least 5 teams should be in that mix.
Yep. Well, who will not be will be BYU. BYU and Utah both. What I watched the second half of this game. Wow, what a fascinating game! This thing was back and forth, but BYU pulls out this game in the Holy War, 24-21. It was fun watching this game. I tell you what, I swear to you, I swear I'm seeing Tim Tebow again. Maybe that's why I like BYU so much. This one run Bear Bachmeier had was just classic Tim Tebow, and I just love it. I just very, very, very pleased with that. But see, what surprised me though is looking at the stats in this game though was Utah's quarterback Devin Dampier threw for 244 yards, 20 of 36. But God, he looked horrible throwing the ball. That was the most quiet 244 yards I've ever seen in a game thrown. But Utah amassed 470 yards of total offense. BYU only about 368. So
this was a big defensive battle. Half of the quarters, no one scored.
Yeah, exactly. But when they did score, it's kind of like they took turns. It was kind of really cool the way that the scoring went. L.J. Martin for BYU ran for 122 yards. So, and Bachmeier ran for 64 in addition to throwing for 166. So, really, I'd say this BYU team I think is very solid. Playing good football in the Big 12.
I think they're definitely in the playoff discussion at this point.
Depot found some goodies from the internet.
Oh boy, the internet.
Can't wait to see him. I'm sure there's some good college football out there. So, thank you.
BYU is one of these teams, Dadman, that I'm like, you have to put them in a playoff conversation at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, you do. Let's get through the rest of the games. Missouri at Auburn. Small time for you here. What are your thoughts on that game? Auburn loses this game in double overtime. Missouri wins 23-17, 16-ranked Missouri. Bo Preview threw for 250 yards. But the thing that I find interesting coming out of this game is that, and you may have seen it on Twitter, that the Auburn head coach, Hugh Freeze, who was a big hire from Liberty, who had coached at Ole Miss before, is now out there asking for his athletic director to give him the good old vote of confidence in public. Public state of support. Statement of support. And that's bad. This is probably the first time I've actually heard a coach ask for public support. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, that's weird. That's strange.
Especially with his background and everything else he had. But anyway, another game, Washington State. We remember last week that they challenged Ole Miss, lost by field goal. Well, they go on the road. They lose to 18th ranked Virginia by 2 points this week. Another game that they had the lead in, and Virginia had to rally to win. So this Washington State team, unlike Oregon State, who's fallen off to complete irrelevance and suckitude, Washington State still find a way to be competitive, even though they're in the Pac-2. Florida Atlantic loses to USF, 19-ranked Bulls win 48-13. A game that should not have been this close, and I tell you, is why Texas should not be ranked. Texas, 21st ranked, goes on the road to Kentucky, loses 16-13 in overtime. And what Chewy was pointing out earlier, JT, was Kentucky had the ball first possession in overtime. They had a second down within the 5-yard line. They ran the ball down to about the 1-yard line. And they ran third and fourth down right into the middle of the line, trying a jump over the top play.
They tried the same thing twice?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Jumbo formation, everybody in tight, and just into the middle of the line. So that's when I turned it off. I knew Kentucky, all Texas needed was the field goal, and they got it to win the game. Memphis, 22nd ranked, gets upset by UAB, who was in their first game coached by Chris Mortensen's son.
I'm still reeling by that, by the way. Why would you not kick the field goal and force Texas to have to score a touchdown when they get the ball?
I'm flummoxed that everybody, I knew what was coming with the running right in the middle, even on third down. Why not spread the offense out and do something wide? Do anything other than just running right in the middle, or at least fake going to the outside, and then you could run in the middle. Yeah.
It just was very, very poor, a very poor decision to try to go for it on fourth down there, because Texas gets the ball back. Now all they have to do is get within, a reasonable range for a college kicker. And
it's the typical thing though, of we're a foot away, so we got to go for it. Instead of just taking, Mark Stoops, if he gets fired, it's on him with this type of coaching decision. At some point, you just take the point. I know you're frustrated, but you should have called better plays other than trying to jump over the top 3 times in a row. So, but Chris Mortensen's son, the old NFL reporter, his son is the interim coach for UAB in his first game, gets the win here with that. To close out the top 25, Cincinnati does crush Oklahoma State, who is now known for shirtless guys in one section of the stadium and a banana conga line.
I did not want to know that.
Go watch through the videos. They had a conga line going through their stadium. Yeah, of dudes and bananas. So let's see here. Deeple said, wait. How did Miss Florida made it public? They wanted. Yes, they made it clear that they wanted Marcus Freeman, that he was on the list. But I did not know that he was immediately shot down. But yeah, of course, his name's tied with every job out there right now, even Penn State. But the thing is, why would the head coach of Notre Dame want to leave? I mean, JT, I know you don't like Notre Dame. I know you don't. But you got to admit that it is one of the top jobs in college football. Why would anybody why did Brian Smelly leave there to go to LSU? I mean, why would you want to leave Notre Dame? It's very prestigious.
Was it a a semi truck full of money? I don't know, but that's always mystified me why Brian Kelly left. He seemed to be so into everything that Notre Dame was. I don't know why that decision was ever made. And look, I knew about him for a long time. He was at Grand Valley State, is a Michigan west side of the state team since the 80s. Then he went to Central Michigan, then to Cincinnati, then to Notre Dame. So he was always kind of a Midwest guy. Always. I don't know why he did that.
See, that's why I've harped on his job and his connection to Louisiana and that he doesn't fit in. That's why I've always said his tenure at LSU is tied to his culture and winning. They'll forgive everything if you're winning, but if you're not winning, and now that he's attacking the fan base, like, oh gosh,
and
it's like I don't know which is worse.
Kelly was bad at Notre Dame either.
I know.
Last season he was in the top 10, and he was 92-39 at Notre Dame.
I don't understand why you leave that job for LSU or any SEC job. I mean, you don't have the pressure. Not saying it's a bad. You have your schedule. You're an independent. You can play whoever you want to. You don't have to face the SEC gauntlet of a schedule. You don't have to deal with the rabid boosters and stuff as much like you would at Notre Dame. Of course, Notre Dame probably is a lot. They're a lot slower to fire coaches. They really are. Look over the history of them. They've had coaches that were bums that should have been fired a lot sooner than they did.
He more than tripled his salary going to LSU.
Well, still though, money doesn't always buy happiness. But hey, well, let's hit a few more games up real quick, and then we'll take a look at the rankings really quickly, and then we'll look at next week's games and make our picks and get out of here. Folks, if you have other stories, please let us know. Florida beats Mississippi State in Bailey Napier's last game, 23-21. I did not watch this game, JT. I refused to watch it. I had heard all the rumors that he was going to be gone, but I really didn't care. He was booed off. He literally was booed off the field after the game. That's how bad it was. Because it was
that is bad.
It was more incompetent play calling. At the end of the first half, once again, they stood around wasting time instead of trying to friggin' score the score. Florida gets 452 yards and yet still has only 23 points to show for it. Time of possession even. It's another sellout for Florida, but the long national nightmare is over. DJ Lagway threw for 280 yards, but no touchdowns and 2 more interceptions.
He was up 13-7 and they booed him at halftime?
No. Yeah. Well, not just halftime, at the end of the game, too. When he left after the game, they had won. They're just tired of it. And at the end of the first half, they stood around doing the horrible clock management that you've seen. It's just like standing around, just instead of hurry up offense, try to score, it's just standing around lollygagging. Anyway, but it's so looking at the they don't use this quarterback well enough. Dallas Wilson, a star freshman, only had 2 catches. It's like you got to throw the ball. This Florida team needs to be if Lagway's going to succeed, he needs to be a true pro style quarterback, not this run clap shift stuff. But hopefully we'll see what the Billy Gonzalez, the new
it's funny that they get rid of him at Mississippi State, the win there at home, instead of
the thing is
at A&M and getting blown out.
Yeah, somebody else got fired last year after winning against it. I think Jimbo Fisher beat Mississippi State and then got fired. So we got that game. Looking real quickly at
Dave.
Dave, hey Fallout Dave, good to see you. How are you doing tonight? How do you think about now we have a new coach coming in? I know he wants Sydney Sweeney, of course. Iowa beats Penn State 25-24. Wow, that was something. Where the leading passer, Ethan Grunkmeyer, for Penn State, threw for 93 yards. My God, how do y'all watch football in the Big Ten? Seriously? I mean, I got to pull out the box score on this. I know we got to get moving and stuff, but Ethan Grunkmeyer, since Drew Aller is out for the season, 15 of 28, 93 yards, 2 picks. Wow. Hey, and Mark, not to be Gronkowski, but Gronkowski, 10 of 16 for 68 yards. Do y'all know what a bit forward pass is in the Big Ten? Like that goes forward more than 10 yards? Sorry, JT, it's my SEC snobbery coming out, but I usually don't, I'm honest. When it's JT, you and I've always trashed Iowa with the jokes about it. It's like, hey, nobody can God, painful to watch. So yes, Sydney Sweeney as head coach, according to Fallen Dave. Yep. That will get everybody into the game. God, that just, at least Iowa ran for 245 yards. Penn State ran for 173, but golly, that just, I know, Jay. Hey, even your Aiden Childs throws better than that, though.
Yep. I think Sweeney as the Florida head football coach should be great.
Yep.
There's some discussion on this going on. I mean, you could just ask them to do anything and they would just do it.
Hey, I'd take losing then. So, yeah, Deeple said I may or may run through a wall for Sydney Sweeney.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Okay, Wade, I don't know if you're still here, but see, you should stay because Oregon State beats Lafayette 45-13. Anthony Hankerson, I don't know how that guy, he's a hell of a running back for the Beavers, and I don't know why he stayed in Corvallis with them going backwards in conferences, but Oregon State gets their first win of the year, 45-13. And the game that ended it all last week, which came down, which actually caused a lot of stir about Mike Norvell being fired at FSU. FSU goes on road to Stanford, loses 20-13, controversially, because I tell you, JT, that last play, I thought the ball crossed the goal line, and they ruled it, they reviewed it and said he was down short of the goal line. I'm like, I'm just like, I think FSU got hosed there, but then again, 13 points, even though the starting quarterback got knocked out later in the game, only 13 points against the Stanford team that is not that good. But hey, that's another coach that could be fired, Mike Norvell. After they released a statement this week, FSU did, saying that they're supporting him as coach through the rest of the year, and that they will do a comprehensive reevaluation of all the program after the end of the year. By the way, I believe his buyout is up towards $40 or $50 million.
Oh. They're going to hold on to him.
Yeah. Again, he came from Memphis. Why the hell does coaching from I'm sorry, no, I know it's going to sound snobbery. Memphis is part of not a Power 5 conference, but a more upper mid conference, but still, those guys don't deserve friggin' $50 million buyouts, even $20 million buyouts when they go into the ACC or SEC. They've done nothing at that level. It is a different league, as we found in Napier's case. He tried to bring that crap from Louisiana, and it didn't work. And
but the school's negotiating from a position of weakness, which is why you give them all this money on very little record.
They're so desperate to get any coach that will take the job in some ways. Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a quick look. I'm going to bring these up. We're going to look at the top 25 ranks where they sit this week, and we can take a look at what we think with them. Yeah, go ahead, JT.
Oh, I was going to say at number 1 overall, Ohio State, to the surprise of no one. Number 2.
Excuse me, JT.
The Ohio State.
We got Depot out there. We've got to respect our viewers, So JT. Yeah, Depot. There are some really crazy ass college football fans in the South. That is true. So, all right. So JT, yeah, you're right. Ohio State stays number 1, almost unanimous in the coaches poll. Ohio State is finally unanimous in AP top 20. In 6 first place votes for Indiana, which I don't buy. By the way, do Indiana and Ohio State play this year? I know we've looked at it at one point, but do they?
Who? I'm sorry. One more time.
Indiana, Ohio State. Are they scheduled to match?
No. And we could look at Indiana's schedule. I predict they win out.
Okay. They don't. Yeah. I think we looked early on. They only had a couple of potential bumps, and now they're past all that. I think. Yeah, Depot doesn't think so. So you're probably looking at their Ohio State, Indiana, unless Indiana trips.
They play UCLA, who's a bottom team, right. Maryland, who is a bottom team, at Penn State, which, well, we know how that ended up. Wisconsin, which a practice game, and then Purdue.
Yeah, that's
so they really.
Well, what about UCLA? Where's the UCLA game?
It's at home.
Okay. That could be the only game that could give us a surprise, because that's one game we did not hit right here. UCLA is on a roll now after finding D'Amico Ryans or Deshaun Foster as their head coach. They are on a roll playing great football now. So,
they don't play another winning team. On their schedule.
So statistically looking at it, it should be Ohio State, Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. So we're moving towards that. Like I said, just the only trip up I could see is that UCLA is playing lights out football right now, somehow, some way. But okay, Indiana second, Texas A&M, the class of the SEC now 7-0, followed by your buddy Bama. Everybody's ready to fire the coach this year for Alabama after that loss to FSU, 6 wins in a row. Moved up to 4. Kirby Smart's got the Dogs right behind in 5th. Oregon 6th. Georgia Tech. I like this Georgia Tech team. I really do. They're fun, but I don't know that they could beat any of these teams ahead of them. They're really still not sophisticated at passing the ball, but they can do it. Haynes King is a great quarterback, but I'd like to see them. They are the class of the ACC right now. Ole Miss drops 3 spots with the loss against Georgia. Miami dropped 7 spots, which they deserved, if not drop more, to lose at home to Louisville. Hades has frozen over. Vanderbilt is in the top 10.
I was just going to say, if you look at the top 6, Dadman, it is just Big Ten and SEC.
Yeah. But you know what? I tell you what, I respect people like Deeple. I really do. He says the Ohio State schedule is sad. I respect that. I respect when people admit that their team. See, even like Florida. Florida's had the hellacious schedule the last 2 years, but in other years they've had such crappy, weak ass schedules with Sister of the Poor and all kinds of stuff. But I respect when people acknowledge the schedule is bad. It's got to be boring. Plus, also it's got to be boring. You'd like to have some weeks you'd like to actually care about watching the game.
They played Texas, who was ranked. They played Illinois, who was ranked. The thing is, they play Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and then the end of the year, of course, the quote unquote big game. This will be a big scrimmage this year against the Ann Arbor Technical College. So,
who do you hate more, Ohio State or Michigan or Notre Dame?
Michigan.
Yeah, okay. He's not even holding back on that one, folks. So. Yeah, it was the only time Texas looked good. Yes, people. And they only scored 7 points in that game. But
I'm trying to help them out. I mean, Texas is still ranked. Illinois is
Urban
still
Light.
ranked.
I mean,
Michigan is still ranked.
I saw a YouTuber had a video said Arch Manning still sucks. Oh yeah, I got upset.
We'll try Deeple. That's on the talking. That's on the list for this week. Yep.
We'll catch that game in just a second. But Vanderbilt in the top 10. Wow, I never lived to think I would see that. BYU comes in at 11. Notre Dame at 12. Hey, Notre Dame never went away, JT, and they're back.
I know. I just I'm glad that BYU is finally getting some looks. I think they should have been in the top 10, but the 11th looks okay for me with them. Do I put them in the top 5? Probably not, but somewhere in 6 through 10, sure.
Right. Okay. Oklahoma has quietly snuck back up after losing the Red River rivalry and having a problem with this material being hurt, the starting quarterback. Texas Tech has fallen 7. Now, will they get the quarterback back? Was this just a one-game bump, or will they fall further after with continued losses? Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz, another name mentioned for the Florida job. He's still got them in relevance at 15. Virginia 16. Tennessee 17, falling 6 after the loss to Alabama. We got UCF. Louisville jumps in the poll at 19 after the upset over Miami. LSU fell 10 spots. I think the love is off for LSU.
Right.
Their season's pretty much done. Cincinnati's up 3. Texas is down 1. Illinois, Arizona State, and Michigan make their debut. Well, I think all 3 had been in the poll at one point and that fell out. Now they're back, so it's not really a debut. But hey, that rolls out in the top 25 there. Any thoughts or other?
Just real quick, I think that out of the 2 conferences, the SEC is sitting in a better spot as a conference. Now, Big Ten is the first 2 teams on that list and have been there for a while, right? But you look at how many spots you have to go between your schools. You go from 2 down to 23rd to get to the next, or I'm sorry, 6 down to 23rd to get to the next Big Ten team, where you've got 11 teams from the SEC in there that are all basically between that 20 point or that 20 slot difference. I don't think,
and one of them's not Florida, by the way.
Right. I don't think having just Ohio State and Indiana at the very top, and then having no one until you start sweating thinking about Illinois and Michigan, don't think that's where the Big Ten really wants to be a conference, because it just says, well, you have a couple halves and then 14 or 16 have-nots. I really don't think that's what they were looking for by making the conference big.
Yeah. Deeple said, Hart appreciates this type of season as a fan for my team, but boring as hell as a fan of football. I agree. There were times even when Florida had those glory years with Tebow, it was like it just was so. Even LSU and other teams, the games that could have been challenging weren't just that bad, But they did have at least a few tests on. With this Ohio State schedule is just yeah. I mean, you're just basically passing away till the Big Ten championship game and the playoffs, really, at this point. So Fallout Dave said Florida's going to win the national title for Coach Boobs. Yes, Oregon
get their own
6.
TV network. Yeah, Oregon 6. Mm-hmm. So I was saying the first 6 spots are just locked up between Big Ten and SEC. Yeah, but I was missing Oregon because I still think they're a pack.
Yeah,
it's
still hard.
12 team.
Yeah. Well, let's look at we're going to go through these matchups real quick this week. We'll take a look. We'll comment a little bit here or there, and then we'll look at our picks. UCLA at Indiana on Fox. Like I said, they've UCLA's won, I think, 3 in a row. The generated offense now. This is the last chance for Indiana. Because UCLA is on a roll. They are playing better football as of now, but you'd still expect Indiana to serve at home. But this could possibly be interesting. It is on Fox at noon. JT, if you want to comment on any of these, just go ahead and jump in as I'm moving along.
Sure.
Syracuse at Georgia Tech on ESPN. Hope, like I said, should be an easy win for Georgia Tech. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. Noon kickoff for Ole Miss. I tell you what, Lane Kiffin hates these noon kickoffs. And he's complained about it over a number of years for the SEC that Ole Miss keeps getting stuck at noon all the time and way too much instead of the 3:30 or 7 o'clock games. So, but this is a game that Ole Miss, look at Oklahoma. They could knock down Ole Miss on this, and then we'll see what happens in Oxford with, at that point. Both teams have a fight in the playoffs too. So it's a big game for both teams, not just in the SEC, but nationally. Virginia is in North Carolina in the Bill Belichick Watch Bowl. Gosh. Let's see. Just going down looking. Rutgers at Purdue. Boiler up. Toot, toot.
That'll be the game of the week right there, Dadman.
I know, really. Auburn, Arkansas could be fun. These two A schools that, and see if Bobby Petrino, what he can do to Auburn's defense, and see if Auburn can generate some offense against Arkansas, because Arkansas does give up a lot of points. But this game could be fun to watch. 12:45 on the SEC Network. Alabama, South Carolina. Why the hell is this damn game on ABC?
At 3:30.
Why
start that thing at noon and get it over with?
Yeah, stick them at noon. See, why? Ole Miss and Oklahoma is a better national and a better matchup that should have been at 3:30. South Carolina is so bad. Why not stick them at noon?
I'd rather watch Ohio at Eastern Michigan this weekend.
Well,
watch that Alabama, South Carolina
Missouri at Vanderbilt, 2 ranked teams there. That's a better matchup on paper and probably even on the field than Alabama, South Carolina. But they're stuck on ESPN. A good game to watch, though, BYU on the road. This could be a tough game for BYU. Road game at Ames, Iowa. I believe it's Ames, I think, with Iowa State. Or it's Iowa City. I can't remember. One's Ames, one's Iowa City. But Iowa State, BYU, it's a dangerous game for them on the road in the conference. 23rd ranked Illinois goes to Washington in the Big Ten. Minnesota at Iowa, also another Big Ten game that on CBS.
A lot of Big Ten at 3:30.
And they put them on CBS. Why not put Illinois, Washington on CBS?
I know.
Why the hell? This is like,
cares?
What did CBS viewers do to the network to get Iowa?
And then Big Ten takes the ranked matchup. So no one's going to watch it.
I know. It's stupid. You got your better teams that don't even get national coverage. So let me get back to Chad. OSU's been so far ahead of the rest of the conference past decade. They basically every game is boring. I understand that. So Dave says any conference with a number in it should require change the name whenever the number of teams to change. Yeah, it should be the Big 18 now. Will Belichick's girlfriend let him talk to reporters. And Jess is here. Hey, Jess, I thought of your rants about networks about these games when I saw the recent announcement that they're making the TV home of F1 Apple TV of the U.S. Oh, man. Hey, but good to see you, Jess. How are you doing tonight? Yeah, put them all in one place. Yes, exactly. See, Toledo at Washington State. And we know Washington State's been playing a lot better, but losing. Taking a look, Navy is one of the other undefeated teams in the nation, 3:30 against Florida Atlantic.
Western at Miami of Ohio. That's actually a good game. Western is at the top of the MAC.
Yep. I know you're more of our.
I know no one cares about the MAC but me. So
yeah, well, that's fine. Whatever. Hey, we talk about what you want to talk about too. That's good. So, folks, also if you spot those type of matchups, feel free to look at them. Some of these matchups that are involving definitely smaller conferences, unranked teams, turn out to be the best football games you could watch. Oklahoma State is at Texas Tech, Baylor at Cincinnati, 22nd ranked Texas at Mississippi State. We're going to comment a little more on a few of these games because they're our picks. I got a little bit more to say on that one there. TCU, West Virginia, that should be a good game in history, but no, both teams have fallen. Well, TCU's gotten pretty good, but West Virginia, has collapsed as a program. Wisconsin is on the road at Oregon and Eugene at 7
It's
o'clock.
7 p.m. What?
No,
Okay.
not 10
You
o'clock.
know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's not 11 o'clock at night. Oh, Dave's wife likes Colorado State, the Rams. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Oh, look, there's a comment about the 2020 COVID year. Yeah. Ohio State and Michigan did not play. Wow. That's but yeah, we got that. Stanford on the road at Miami. Let's see if they can beat two Florida teams back-to-back weeks. Texas A&M is on the road at Baton Rouge. Let's see if Brian Kelly has any magic left here at home with Texas A&M. This is always a tough game. Boston College on the road at 19th ranked Louisville. Of course, JT, I'm going to let you talk about this game a little bit more when we do our picks, because this isn't our picks. Michigan at Michigan State, the rivalry game. We just celebrated the anniversary this week of the fumbled punt snap by Michigan, where I'm like just sitting there like just down the ball and kick the field goal, but the Michigan State guys just ran it in, which I agree with. Never leave a game up to a kicker. Yep. I hate this crap that's happening where everybody's starting to take a knee to run the clock out instead of getting in the end zone and playing defense. Because one day somebody's going to get screwed because three things can go bad on a kick: bad snap, bad hold, bad kick. Get the ball in the end zone, score the points, and then play defense. You're not guaranteed to make a damn field goal anytime, even for 20 yards.
This is the 10th anniversary of Michigan. On the last play of the game, he has trouble with the snap. The Michigan State picks it up and returns it for a touchdown. Jalen Watts Jackson, and then the infamous kid with the hands on his head and the open mouth and shock and disbelief. Yeah, Michigan will always say, we won on the last play of the game the next year against you guys, but no,
not the same way.
Like this.
Not like that.
Not like this.
Not like that. Speaking of, for you, Fallout Dave, Colorado State, the Rams are at Wyoming, Tennessee at Kentucky. Now, I think that's in our pick. I'll hold off on that. If not, I mean, this game could be interesting with the way Kentucky played against Texas and Tennessee. This is a hated rivalry between these two teams. Houston is at 24. Arizona State, Colorado ends up at Utah. Those are the games that we have this week. JT, any thoughts on any of those games while I bring up our spreadsheet?
Michigan, we got Michigan State in that spreadsheet. I don't know how many weird surprises we're going to get this week. You are starting to get into the season of the rivalry matchups, which is fun. You start to have a little bit more fun with that. That's built on history and tradition and everything that the sport's trying to get away from, because I don't know, they want to chase the almighty dollar, but the rivalry games are what gets you that dollar a lot of times, especially when your teams are no good the rest of the year. So it is a fading part of the sport that I think you and I are going to be sad in 10 years when it doesn't exist for a lot of stuff.
We've had a lot of rivalries. Texas A&M ceased until Texas joined the SEC. I mean, you look, they say that Notre Dame USC is ending. Penn State, Notre Dame ended. I mean, there's so many matchups that we've seen end in the recent years. Florida, Tennessee was passionate to me because of the hatred with Tennessee. But now it's, and these matchups are going either because of the increase in number of conference games or just of all the realignment is taking away some of these wonderful matchups. I think Oklahoma, Nebraska used to be a big matchup, especially around Thanksgiving, or the Nebraska, Colorado. They're just the matchups I grew up with as a kid are dying or are gone.
The one game that I want to watch this week was UCLA at Indiana. And I want Indiana to win. I am rooting for Indiana for whatever reason. I think at least just to give Ohio State a good game of the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
And maybe have them be a potential to try to upstage a 1 versus a 2 in that game.
Because that's probably the only team in the Big Ten that could actually give Ohio State a shot, game at it. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of shot of the game, we are now officially tied, JT, in the year. I mean, we had a couple weeks off, But we are now, based on last week, I picked up 2 games on you. We are now both at 55-20.
Which is better than Brian Smelly. I don't want to say that.
Exactly. But my picks are better this year than in prior years. And I'm struggling to get 500 sometimes.
Because you've been listening to my gentle guidance and tutelage?
No, it's all me. This is even before you jumped on the channel with me. This is all me. So, well, let's look at the list week. The 5 Big Ten games we got this week. I'll let you start. UCLA, Indiana. How do you see this? What are you looking forward to in this game?
Indiana, I think both of us have it. This is really just a trap game for Indiana. This is the best team they have left on their schedule, and coming off some other big wins in that coach contract renegotiation extension. I see this as maybe one where they lose focus potentially, but I really hope not. So I put Indiana by 3 to 4 touchdown win if they don't come out falling flat on their face in the first 5 minutes of the game. So
if this was last year, I would be a little more skeptical. With UCLA, you can't ignore how well they changed on a dime, even with Nico as quarterback.
I'm going to leave you.
They're on fire though. This is not last year's Indiana team that beat nobody, and when they did play a good team, they wet the bed. Both when they played Ohio State and when they played in the playoffs against Notre Dame. So, but I'll take them at home too. Also with you on that. They got a new contract for Kirk Signetti. Signetti, I think is his name, but he's extended to end his career. He says at Indiana.
Got it.
Which is good. It's good to see a coach. I like Josh Heupel. Only job I can see Heupel even for would be Oklahoma.
Now, the great thing is by him getting all of that money is that he could look at the transfer portal and pick stuff out of there, but he also can get more commits now because he said, I'm going to retire here.
Yep, he's going to be there. That's why Hugh Freeze wants that public support is the recruiting and for Auburn. But hey, you got to start winning football games on the field. You got to win at some point. Northwestern at Nebraska. Northwestern coming off the upset win over Penn State. Nebraska coming off the crushing loss to Minnesota on the road. We both had Nebraska though at home. That's kind of why I take this game. I think Northwestern just got lucky with the situation. There's so many problems up in Happy Valley that they came in. They were solid enough to play the game that day. But I'd see Nebraska pulling this game away.
Same. I think Nebraska wants to be ranked again. Yeah, I think they'll be just hungry enough to do what they need. Although I don't think Northwestern's going to rescue them back into the good graces of the AP. But hey.
Nope, not enough. But hey, then we got Illinois at Washington. So I see you going with Jess's State there, Illinois. I'm taking Washington mostly because they're at home on the West Coast. What do you think, Illinois?
I think Illinois sees that there is something that they need to do to stay relevant in the rankings, and winning this matchup will help them quite a bit. I honestly don't know enough about either one of these teams to say for certain that this team's got a far better chance at doing it. I am worried about that West Coast bias on the location of the game. For sure.
A lot of teams struggle going
west. Or less win.
Yep. Illinois had enough shots this year and choked enough games away they shouldn't have, so I have no confidence in them anymore. Washington at home is kind of where I'm going with it. Okay, I take the obvious pick in this one, Michigan on the road at Michigan State. JT, you have at it. What do you want to talk about this game? This is your time.
I have to go with my alma mater, this, even though I'm not optimistic whatsoever. But look, every year, no matter how bad Michigan State's teams have been, you get like a 90% chance that they'll play like a different team for this game. And this is the power of a rivalry. I really don't see Michigan being stellar. I see them being ranked because of the name and little more. So I don't think either one of these teams is particularly relevant. Michigan State, obviously less so than Michigan at this point, but game is in East Lansing, and that always seems to have helped Michigan State. I think this will be probably the only game that the team sells out this year. unless they sold out one random one early on. But this is the other one that people in town are going to get excited for. And maybe quarterback will throw, Childless will throw, and his receivers will actually catch. One of the big problems with the last 3 weeks that you've seen in almost every story about this team is they look like they don't even want to be out there, or that they gave up because it was the fourth quarter and they were down by 2 touchdowns or something, right? And they're just there to do the snaps and punt the ball away on offense. So it's really tough for me to say they're going to win this game, but I have to stay with my team, Dadman. I have to. So that's like your one free game for the week.
So, do you have any great memories? What are some of your greatest memories about this series?
Oh gosh, I remember being a student there and Mark D'Antonio coming in and turning it around, and then Jim Harbaugh coming in shortly after that. And there were years in the early 2010, in the other 20 teens, where Mark D'Antonio just had Jim Harbaugh's number, just had his number. And Michigan was scoring, like, say, the first year they'd score 21 and lose. The next year they were scoring 14 and then losing. The next year, 10 and losing. It was like you could chart the lowering and lowering and lowering.
I saw a lot of the Mark D'Antonio. I saw a lot of the Mark D'Antonio stuff recently on Twitter. So from the MSU stuff. So it must be. Then he must have really gotten under Michigan's skin those years.
Oh, he did, because it was that whole Mike Hart comment about you let them think they're going to win the game, and then just like your little brother, you take it away from them. And Mark D'Antonio really got a chip on his shoulder for that. Now, his out years after he lost to Alabama in the national championship game in the second year, he I don't know, like he just lost something. He refused to fire any staff. He literally would rotate his staff around. Like the defensive coordinator would be the special teams coach, and the special teams coach would be the quarterback's coach. Right. And it was like, no, that's not how that works. And he became loyal and stubborn to a fault, and ended up, ending his career on a really sour note, just quitting without notice.
And he quit coaching pretty much. He really just disappeared. He never, it's not like he left for another job. He just disappeared. So
right. And so that was a bad taste at the end, and I think that'll keep him from ever getting a statue on the campus.
Right.
Sure. But I definitely, when I was in school in the years that it mattered, we did really well against Michigan. And then after I left, right, the few years after I left, which are the years you tend to care, that time period is when you care the most about your school that you went to. Great memories. So this is always, one of those ones where if somebody gave me tickets, I'll be up there Saturday.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Oh, good. All right. Well, JT, thanks for sharing those thoughts and memories of that series, and hopefully your team pulls it out. I mean, crazier things have happened, and I don't think this Michigan team is all this vaunted and great. Their $12 million quarterback really struggles to. I'm sorry. This team should, for $12 million quarterback team. This $12 million quarterback should be putting up 30 points a game, and they don't. They're not even close to it.
Right.
No. Speaking of not putting up points, Minnesota at Iowa. This is probably like over under should be about 16 points in this game. I pick Iowa just because they're at home. Because I don't trust Minnesota. I would love to pick Minnesota, but Minnesota has burned me all over the years.
Yep. Yeah.
They have a better offense. They should be able to do it, but I'd pick Minnesota this game. They'll lose by 20, but I'm taking Iowa with you. Any thoughts? We'll kind of run through some of these games really quickly.
Same thoughts.
Okay. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. The more I think about this game though now, the more I wish I may have been more open to taking Oklahoma, but I'll stay with my pick with Ole Miss on this. Mateer's back for Oklahoma at home. Both teams a lot to play for in the conference and nationally. But I will take Ole Miss. I'll stay on the Lane train for now. How about you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Missouri at Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia. The train continues. I still don't like Eli Drinkwitz as a coach. Everybody keeps talking about him to Florida. I'm like, I remember a couple years ago he was about to get fired at Missouri. And I think that they've benefited from a weaker schedule, too. They've had good players. They've had some good quarterback play. They've done some things that adjust themselves. But I'm still thinking Missouri will always be the redheaded stepchild in the SEC to me. And I think Vanderbilt, I'm convinced that they're real now. And so we'll see.
Yeah, they're hot right now.
If they lose this week, Vanderbilt loses this week, then they can just go in the toilet for all I care. I'll be honest. And the big thing is game day is going to be there this week, and everybody's griping because it'll be the second time Vanderbilt has been associated with game day in several weeks because last time was when they went to Alabama. But so you got Vanderbilt also in this game?
Yes, I do. And it's a 15 out of 10. I mean, there's only really one other game where both teams are ranked that highly this week.
Yep. Well, we have a ranked game next with A&M and LSU, but LSU's down to 20 and on the way down. We both have A&M on the road because usually at night it's Death Valley is very tough to win and play at. Like, even though I'm critical of Nussmeier, who I really liked him a couple years ago, but it's just not been impressive since he's taken over the starter role. I mean, this game you can't rule LSU out there at home. If they can get this game ugly, then they can win this game. But if A&M is productive on offense like they were against Arkansas and have been other times, LSU will not win a track meet game.
Yeah.
All right.
I think this could be a dangerous game to call, but I had to also call it for A&M.
Yeah.
I think if LSU loses this, Brian Smelly's definitely like on the hot seat, and they've got that hot plate.
Well, I tell you, when you start telling the fans that they're spoiled, that's something attacking your fan base. But Auburn at Arkansas, attacking your fan base. I don't know that Hugh Freeze necessarily did that, but calling for a public vote of confidence. Yeah, coaches never begged for that till now. This is the first time I've ever seen it. So it's a game that I wanted to take Auburn because I like this Auburn team. I think they're talented. They started off really well this year. They've lost some very close games in the SEC. They should be a lot better record-wise than they are. It's a team that I really think that they could beat some good teams. But for as good as Hugh Freeze was at Liberty and Ole Miss, he's not been the same type of coach here at Auburn. And I just Bobby Petrino, I think, has more than enough offense to outlast Auburn in this game. So, and any thoughts on the Pigs, Auburn, JT, or not?
No.
Okay. Texas at Mississippi State. You want to go ahead and take this first, and I'll tell you why.
Sure. I think Texas at 5-2 is not where they want to be this year. And so if they don't beat Mississippi State by at least 10 points, then maybe Texas fires Sarkisian.
Nah, way too early for that. He's had
I'm joking.
Well, we've had enough coach firings that we can't joke. It's always going to be serious.
You go ahead and beat Mississippi State, you get fired, right?
Or he wins the game and gets fired. That's the trend of what it is. A&M's coach, Florida coach. Look, I tell you what,
State's at the bottom of the conference.
I watched. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Texas will win this game. Maybe not in a glorious fashion, but Mississippi State's too problematic to not beat
Mississippi State should be a lot higher in the conference. They should have beaten Tennessee. They should have beaten Florida. Whatever that pass was that they called or whatever when they had a field goal range with 20 seconds left against Florida. This team should be like only have one loss in the conference. Or could be. Yeah, they should be a lot. Their record should be a lot better. Texas, I saw more than enough of what I need to with them at Kentucky. Arch Manning sucks. Like everybody's starting to say, they only got 13 points at Kentucky. Mississippi State has a pretty decent defense, and most years has a pretty good defense. The question is offense. And if Blake Shapen will not throw stupid passes like he did last week, this is in Starkville, home of the cowbell. That's why I'm going with Mississippi State in this game. It's a lot about what Texas is not doing and what Mississippi State has done or can do in this case. This team, Mississippi State, is not, they're in the basement, but they're how do we describe it? They are not a typical doormat like a Kentucky or Arkansas or Auburn. I mean, this team has actually played well this year. They should have beaten Tennessee. They had a lead. They went toe to toe with them. They should have done better against Florida. They really should have.
All right. Well, we'll see when I get the win in the win column this week.
That's okay, and you most likely will. But I tell you what, look, I see Arch Manning throwing at least 2 picks in this game. With the defense in Starkville, I think he is. I think Mississippi State can do it. I was watching old replays. Mississippi State before they played Florida last week had clips from the Tim Tebow era where he picked off 2 passes and took them back for touchdowns. They didn't win the game, but they held to those pick sixes. So, all right, let me see. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We got 12 likes. Thank y'all for here. 8 still here watching. Appreciate y'all being here tonight. Around the country, we can take these quicker. Colorado, Utah, we split on this. I'm taking Utah. Dampier did okay, but I just am not convinced with Colorado and Dion this year and their quarterback. Any particular reason?
I just think Colorado's hungrier than Utah at this point. This is kind of the game where Colorado salvages something of their season or it's all over. So I think even though it is an away game for them, Utah had a tough week against BYU last week. And so something tells me Colorado might pull that one out.
Well, we've got Houston and Arizona State. We both take Arizona State. This is a matchup. If Chewy's around, if you're still there, feel free to tell us a little bit about this game. What you think? I know he's made some comments about Houston to watch out for. But yeah, this game
should be a tough game. Yeah, I really do think that.
But Arizona State now having their quarterback back will make a big difference for them this time, though. Toledo at Washington State. You went with your favorite Toledo.
No. Go Rockets.
Even though you declare war on Ohio and the city of Toledo, you still. Yeah, I got you. I got Washington State because Washington State's lost 2 tough road games that they could have or should have won. This is a good football team, but Toledo's good also, but they have to make the trip west. We got BYU at Iowa State. We both take BYU, but I caution everybody this one. Even though BYU is ranked 11, Iowa State is very dangerous. They're tough, especially at home. This could be a very close game, and BYU's been challenged, and they've been playing a lot of closer games against Utah and some of the other teams recently. So this could be a game BYU gets knocked off. I really believe so, but I'm still going to stick with the Tim Tebow Mormons in this game. I love watching them play. I love watching them because I love watching Tebow play, and I love watching this Bear Buckmeyer play. What are your thoughts on this game, JT?
It definitely feels like a trap game. Iowa State is 5-2. I mean, their quality of opponent is probably a little bit lower than BYU's, but it's still a dangerous road game, and you're coming off that big game against Utah. So you get the trap kind of feelings, right?
Yep.
Getting the other stuff. So, yeah, but I still think BYU pull it off.
All right, our last game is a rivalry game. Kansas State at Kansas. So we both take Kansas in this game. Not sure why. Kansas State's pretty bad, though, this year. I mean, they started off the season with that game in Ireland, and they won it. But since then, they've not been nearly the same. Of course, their father, the name for a father, got in a fight with his son. The father of the quarterback got in a fight with another son of his sons in Ireland. It was what a way to start your year for Kansas State. So
what conference are they in again? I'm trying to remember.
The Big 12. Big 12.
Are they?
I think they are. Let me double check with that. Kansas.
They are.
No, yes, Kansas. Kansas State. See, now that's a rivalry that gets to stay maintained. Because that's because when you keep your rivals in the conference, you can protect that rivalry. And
that game will be on TNT/HBO Max.
What?
Yes. A noon game getting pushed to TNT/HBO.
Wow.
I'm telling you, Dadman, these teams are going to find out that after 5 years, their revenues are going to be way down because nobody cares about your team when you keep throwing stuff on, ESPN 15 and TNT/HBO, and not the Big Ten network, but the Big Ten streaming network that has nothing to do with the cable network. Stuff like that gets people to just say, you know what? I'm going to go to the cider mill or the pumpkin patch with my family this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, I'm going to weddings in the fall, and I'm going off. I'm actually watching some other online soap with a friend instead of watching football at times because the Gators have been like. Now I'm curious to see. I will watch the Florida Georgia game because it's a rivalry, but also that we don't have the old coach. It'll be interesting because even Billy Hernandez has been talking about getting the ball to more of his playmakers, which is like, thank God. Why do you recruit these wide receivers and all this other stuff and not use them? But by the way, I wanted to show you got a nightmare, JT. According to ESPN, with the way it's ranked, Northwestern is tied for third in the Big Ten. Who would ever thought that? This team could actually make a bowl game this year. They're what are they overall? They're 5-2. They're 5-2 overall.
Can you scroll down to the bottom of this list?
Yeah.
You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way tie for last place.
Yeah, you do. But still, Michigan State, Penn State, Rutgers you get 3 more wins out of 4 games, depending on your or 5 games left, depending.
They're not getting that. They're not getting that. You kidding me?
Follow Dave. While getting up on college football, you need a logistics degree and 327 networks to watch the game. But I tell you what's good about it, though, folks. Wow, we got 10 people still watching us on both Twitch and YouTube. Thank you, folks. I remember not ever being able to watch the Florida Georgia game in the 70s, 80s because they would never show it on TV. Games were so limited. And even though the world's largest outdoor cocktail party was always sold out, they would never televise it locally in town. There's no way you could buy a ticket. There was no way you could get to it. Yet they still, because of the draconian rules and stuff back then, ABC, CBS, whoever had it, would never show it in town. I didn't get to see the 84 win of Florida over Georgia because it was blacked out, even though it was a sellout. So that's kind of why, JT, I'm kind of on the opposite side. I like as much football out there and put wherever people can get to it. Because I lived in the days when I missed games that I would have dearly loved to see, but never got to see because the networks would not do it because of their rules. So,
yeah, I don't know if the answer is HBO.
No, probably not. But if it gets there, it gets anyway. Hey, look, UCLA is up to 3-1 in the conference, though.
Yeah, they're still trash.
I know. Well,
they're still trash. The other thing, I did actually get some of the Michigan State game this past week on my AM WJR 760.
Mm-hmm.
That was free.
Yeah. Let's see.
And you don't care because it's on AM radio.
We'll see. If y'all could win this week, you could beat Penn State. You could beat Maryland. Y'all could get 3 more wins. But you need to win this week. I don't see you winning on the road at Minnesota or Iowa.
Oh, hell no. I already put those down as losses.
Yep. And with that, the season's over. I know. Yeah, it's like with Florida when they lost that first game. It's like, well, the season's over already.
Well, they'll get 6 wins by your count, which makes them bowl eligible?
Bowl eligible. That's all you need. Which is enough to keep a coach around these days.
I'm shaking my head. You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head.
No, I bet you are.
Well, Florida has the same record. Let's see who Florida is going to lose to the rest of the year.
No, we can. Real quick, give me a second. Let me let me get back to let me go to Florida real quick. Hey, can you do me a favor while I'm doing this? Look up, see if ESPN has the bottom 10. See if we can find this week's bottom 10, the bottom 10, and then we'll quit after that. But let me see, trying to get Florida here. Let's take a look at Florida.
They have week 7. They do not have week 8.
Okay. Well, we'll take a week 7. You go ahead and pull it up. We'll look at it. Let me take a quick. I'm getting the Florida schedule up. We'll look at Florida schedule. And we'll look at the bottom 10. God, Long Island University, really. Okay, Florida gets to lose to Georgia. On the road at Kentucky, folks. Kentucky will beat Florida at home, even when they shouldn't. But I think this Florida team, I think now with the coaching change, I could see this team winning 4 or 5. I could see they've got. I could see them knocking off Georgia. People think it's impossible, but this team has got talent if it's coached properly. And if you attack, if you don't do clap shift, and if you try to run a real offense, they nearly knocked off Georgia last year. Kentucky is a bad game for them because they usually go up to Kentucky lately and struggle. Kentucky has challenged Texas. I could see this team winning Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee at home because it's a rivalry game and they have Tennessee's number, and it's the last time they'll be a regular opponent of Tennessee. And damn it, I don't want to lose that game. And then of course FSU is wet the bed too.
Well, so I think Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida State. I think they win 3 more. Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida State, and be bowl eligible.
Yep.
And maybe there's a bowl out there for a 6-win Big Ten team and a 6-win SEC team. And we get Michigan State versus Florida.
Hey, there you go. We'll have to have a party for that one. We'll have to have a party for that one then.
Live stream during the game.
Yeah, we'll do a Cosme thing. I was getting Mrs. to set up in a Cosme and we'll do it.
Jeez. I think I've got better things like clipping my nails that day.
Well, no, would be hanging out. We'd have the chat. We'd make it fun.
True.
Well, it'd be miserable sitting here watching it by yourself, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get wrapped up. We'll take a look at the bottom 10 real quick with you, JT.
So this was not from this past weekend, but the one before. You have.
Oh, here, let me bring it up. Okay.
The number 10th worst. Northern Illinois.
Oh, yes. Yeah, which is funny is what last year or 2 years ago, Northern Illinois upset Notre Dame. Remember?
Yeah.
And it's like now they're okay. We got them. Okay, number 9.
Number 9, Georgia State, not Southern.
Yeah. Okay. There's also the Georgia Southern Eagles who are pretty good.
Okay. UAB at number 8. So I think they get off this list because I thought they won this past weekend.
Probably so. But what were their record at that point? 3-4 or 2-4?
Yeah, it'll put them at 3-4.
Okay.
Let's see here. Tennessee State. Pretty sure they went to 1-6.
Yeah, muddling Tennessee would. Yeah, I'm having trouble seeing it on the StreamYard.
Muddling Tennessee State.
I think muddled Tennessee State.
Oh, Middle Tennessee State. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. It's muddled. Okay.
Number 6, Nevada.
Okay.
They lost to Penn State.
Yeah, Dave's right. There's 5,000 bowl games. Yep. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5. Well, I'm sure they moved up. Penn State.
Man.
Number 4, UTEP.
UTEP. Yeah, UTEP won this week.
So they're probably off the list. Going to 2-5.
That reminds me of a story I'm going to bring up real quick for that.
Sam Houston, we have a problem. Number 2, Oregon Trail State. You've died of dysentery.
Yes, exactly.
Did they lose this past week as well?
No, they beat Lafayette.
Well, at 1-7, they'll still be on the list.
Well, God,
And then the number one,
but they were down 13-10. They were down 13-10 at one point.
Yep.
They still couldn't do anything.
And your number one worst team, UMass.
Yeah, I'm surprised Florida's not on that list.
Well, we could go look at the honorable mentions. Granted, this was 2 weeks ago. Results from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we don't have
Kent,
to. Yeah, state of Kent.
EMU Emus. That's Eastern Michigan. Yeah, I would definitely put them on this list. South Alabama redundancies. Oklahoma State no pokes. Yep. Charlotte 1 and 5ers. Wisconsin badgers. Yeah, they definitely get on this list now. Boston College.
Mm-hmm.
UNC Chapel Bill. Clapping with fingers. Okay. So there you go. Yeah. There you go. That's the bottom. You said you had something for Sam Houston. Do you have a problem?
I'm not sure who Rainfield Wolfcastle voices, but Depot said he read it in that voice. I'm trying to see the picture I saw at the stadium. You remember we talked about that one baseball game where the Rockies were there? It was looked like 20 people were there the whole time.
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to find it. It was on Twitter though, folks, but there were so few people at the Sam Houston UTEP game this week. They got an announced crowd of 4,657. How? I don't know, folks. The stadium was so empty that, I mean, how the heck? This was worse than the other one, than the baseball game. I can't find the picture, but I do know that. Oh, wow. Skylar Locklear's back to the starter for UTEP. Wow, that's a shock. They had a former five-star recruit that went down there to UTEP to resurrect his career, and he sucks. But, damn, I wish I could find pictures. See, some places have you pictures of the games and stuff like that, associated with it. But if you can find this on the UTEP Sam Houston game, it wasn't 4,000 people. I mean, they had like a 20,000 seat stadium, and there was nobody in the bleachers. Everybody was down on the sideline. It was that bad.
I mean, Eastern Michigan doesn't get that many people on a game after the midpoint in the season. They'll have homecoming. Yeah. They'll have like your marching band alumni game. Those two will draw, and that's pretty much it.
How can they afford to have these stadiums like that when they can't ever draw anybody to a game?
I don't know. I don't. I'm not trying to be funny, but tickets are like $15, I think, because pricing has gone up, over the years. Yeah. But it's like, a lot of it though, I think, is they might give out tickets really cheap to like high schools and middle school, different organizations to try to get people into the stadium to make sure concessions get enough people to keep those open, type of a thing. But you end up watching that game, and Dadman, you're sitting here thinking, if I were a little bit younger, I could still be on this team. And obviously you couldn't.
I know.
The level of play is still too high for that, but you sit there and you're like, wow, like it is not the college level of play you're accustomed to, which is too bad. You wish some of these teams that don't have the spotlight to be able to do something good, but hey.
Well, I'm frustrated that I can't find the picture. I'm frustrated I can't find the picture, but it really was like there was not even 20 people in one spot in the bleachers combined. I mean, it just was so bad, so bad that, I mean, anyway. But hey, at least UTEP won. So yay, Miners, another one of my bad teams that I like. But anyway, well, we're going to wrap up tonight, guys. Actually, oh shoot. I forgot to go over our pick. We did do our picks for this week. Okay, cool. Ooh, I thought we forgot that, but okay. All right, JT, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
Go green, go white, go state.
I'm glad you added the white because I didn't think you were going to come in with this environmental stuff. So
no,
I'm good with that. Me. But hey, well, we're tied this week. We'll see what happens with our picks this week and go from there, folks. Join me tomorrow night, 8:00 with Wes Cagle. We'll go West Dadman. We're planning on Thursday night. We may do some Fortnite. I know Mrs. does Fortnite on Thursday nights, but we'll see what happens. And thanks for bearing along with me and as we do things. And, appreciate JT again on a Tuesday night here, having some fun. Everybody came through, and we went longer than I meant to, and we tried to go through. But, hey, folks, enjoyed the conversation. Have a great Saturday of football, and hopefully your team wins, and go Sparty. Good night, all.